guys, do you ever remember the time Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, and Master Roshi just kinda gave up on being martial artists, stopped training, and just became firemen, and joined the Dragon Ball Fighting Brigade to just stop fires? You ever remember that? Well, neither do I. Until now. Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I am Blackenfist, and I welcome you to the birds and the bees of Dragon Ball. When everyone thinks about a Dragon Ball TV special, what's the first thing to come in mind? Bardock, father of Goku, perhaps history of Trunks. But no guys, we're going back, way back, to the very first Dragon Ball special, which was a public service announcement, no less. They were released in June 1988, around the same time the anime was in the Demon King Piccolo saga. And the two public service announcement specials, which were incidentally the first Dragon Ball specials ever released, were about street and fire safety using the Dragon Ball characters. How would this work, considering the fact that the first time I heard traffic street safety, like, one of the very last people I would think that could teach you that is Goku. Just look at his track record.
Brat! Open your eyes! Watch out!
Come on, like, who can teach you traffic safety like that? There's not really much more backstory, so let's just dive right in to the traffic safety episode. So it opens up with Goku just running around trying to get somewhere. Standard Dragon Ball fare. And he runs into a tiger who's a big dick to him because, what tiger hasn't really been a big dick in this show anyway? More standard Dragon Ball fare. And of course Goku gets past him pretty easily. We then jump to Krillin and Master Roshi in the city trying to look for Bulma's house because apparently it's her birthday and they want to get to her house to celebrate. We then also cut to this kid who's playing with the toy car and it runs right into the street. Can anyone guess what's about to happen? This is a traffic episode and a toy car just ran into the street. I think most people can get what's going to happen here. So of course the young boy playing with the toy car runs immediately after his toy, and of course a car comes zooming by about to run him over. Thankfully the car stops right in time, and this is where we get introduced to one of the TV special exclusive characters, because it's just a reuse of the model for launch. Apparently whoever animated this or made this TV special didn't have enough of the budget to actually design new characters, and they said, this is a PSA, so fuck it, man, just use freaking Launch's model design and give her a different hair color. Who really gives a fuck on this thing anyway? We then come back to Goku, where he's trying to approach West City, where Bulma lives. He then meets up with Snow, who, by the way, in this TV special, even though this is during the Demon King Piccolo saga, for some reason, Goku doesn't know Snow, so that just tells you that the continuity of this special doesn't even try. They don't even try to make this very logistical in terms of how it fits in the whole series. And why should they? It's a public service announcement. I'm kind of surprised that they actually keep Goku quite in character here. He's not really telling us about how to cross the street or anything. He's actually the one breaking all the rules as he should, jumping across the street in a very dangerous fashion. So I'm actually surprised they actually kept Goku in character for this one. Snow, of course, says, "You shouldn't be doing that, Goku. It's pretty dangerous." And then we get a whole little section where we're told to look both ways before crossing the street. Yep, there's a public service announcement, alright. Later in that day, they go into West City, where Snow meets up with her family. Her brother's so excited to see Snow, runs across the street to try to go after her. Some kid running into the middle of the street in a traffic safety episode. What could possibly go wrong? And of course a car comes zooming by, but thankfully, because Goku has his freaking power pole. He saves a kid just in the nick of time before the car completely splatters him. The TV special pretty much ends with Goku arriving at Bulma's birthday party and eating all the food. Quite honestly, the most thing I was impressed about is that they actually kept Goku in character. Other than that, it was just a plain traffic safety episode with not much else to commentate. The other TV special is Goku's Fire Brigade, which I have to say is a little bit more amusing than the traffic safety episode. It starts off with two kids playing with some fireworks. One firework lands in the trash and it sets on fire. I actually like the way they introduce Goku here. Goku comes out jumping out of nowhere with a bucket of water in his hand, just trying to douse the fire. Yeah, Goku, you showed that fire who's boss. Goku actually, I think, is out of character in this one, just a little bit, because he then proceeds to tell the kids about fire safety and treating fire with care and making sure you're doing it with an adult. Since when has Goku ever cared about doing something with an adult? After our little lecture by Goku, the kids walk down the street to see that there's a fire in a house. But this is when we're introduced to the Dragonball Fighting Brigade. That's right, Master Roshi, Yamcha, and Krillin apparently are firefighters in this TV special, which I think is actually a pretty awesome idea, turning out the fire. Once they put out the fire, then they start to tell the children about many situations about when fires can start and what exactly to do not to do them. After learning this information, the children actually start to pester their parents about turning things off like gas and not smoking in the house because it might cause a fire. It seems that the Dragon Ball crew just made these kids ultra paranoid about fires. Regardless, the next day we're introduced to Bulma, who apparently lives in an apartment in this TV special. Once again, absolutely no continuity with the rest of the series because Bulma would not be living in an apartment. And then all of a sudden, there's an earthquake, which actually kind of surprised me because this was a fire safety episode, not an earthquake disaster safety episode. But apparently, the earthquake causes Bulma, as she was cooking, to accidentally start a fire in her apartment. This is when the kids notice it and they call the Dragon Ball Fighting Brigade Squad, this time including Goku. So Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, and Master Roshi arrive to try to put out the fire, and we get to see some awesome scenes of the Dragon Ball Fighting Brigade Squad in action. And then, of course, that's when the special ends. Quite honestly, this is a very interesting look at Dragon Ball history. I didn't know that these specials existed for a long time, and when I did, I was actually kind of surprised. They're public service announcements, so what more could you have expected from them? They're not the best thing ever, of course. They're not even meant to be that amusing. However, I do think that it's very interesting to look back at them now. These specials have pretty much, for the most part, have been forgotten by fans. And it's kind of easy to see why. I mean, they're public service announcements. They're not even attempting to make anything cool about the Dragon Ball world. They're not trying to expand it like any movie. And they're definitely not trying to keep it within canon. So it's pretty much just something that's Dragon Ball related, but has really nothing to do with Dragon Ball. The only cool thing I gotta say about these specials is the fact that you get to see Yamcha, Goku, Krillin, and Master Roshi in a firefighting, a team pretty much taking out fires. But that's pretty much the coolest thing that I got from these specials. These specials were released on the Japanese Dragon Box, which to my knowledge is the only home release for these specials. I doubt Funimation will actually try to get these specials. I mean, why would they? They're fucking public service announcements. But, you know, it's interesting that I got to see them anyway, and a very interesting part of Dragon Ball history. Well, anyway, guys, I hope that you've learned something new And I hope that you found this little take back into Dragon Ball history interesting, because this has been the Birds and the Bees, and I'm Blackenfist.